My name is Christine, and Melanie, if you want to give a wave. So Melanie and I together run Power in Aging, which is a coming into midlife group for women, our community that we are very blessed to have. We started a couple of years ago with some workshops, which led into these beautiful guest speaker events that we do monthly. And we always bring a lot of value to our community by offering them different topics. I know Lori Trumper had been excited about this particular topic, and we're very blessed that Amanda was available to come for us today. We also run a group coaching program, which we run monthly. So the next one is this Saturday morning, 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. I know that's sort of different for everywhere, depending where you live. And we invite you to come and be a part of our group coaching as well. We try to help and encourage women to empower themselves as they go through all the inevitable changes that we face as we come into midlife or middle age. We were just mentioning the sandwich generation, caring for aging parents as well as taking care of young kids. There's empty nesting, there's career changes, there's coming back into the workforce, there's going through different types of grief and loss and of not knowing what you want or where you are at. And we do tons of transition as we go through midlife, and we like to help coach you through that and be a supportive community. So that's what we are all about. We're also really excited that we are going to be introducing our online membership program, launching in April this year. So Melanie and I have been working furiously behind the scenes. We're not real techie, so it's finding the right person to help work with us to get it up online. But we are really excited, and we hope it's going to be a wonderful monthly program of self-development. You can take it self-paced, and we will have different types of meetings, and you'll be working in your community groups as well. So we're really excited to bring that. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, you're here tonight to learn about Indigenous awareness. And I'm really, really happy to present Amanda, who I met, oh my goodness, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, right, Amanda? We've even traveled together. We've been to Salt Lake City together. We both met with the love and passion for essential oils, working with doTERRA and through a group of other women, and formed a friendship. And I am so honored to have Amanda come and talk to us about this very important subject. So without further ado, I'm going to mute everybody. Amanda, just make sure right now, if you don't mind, I'm not muting you, which might happen. Mute all. You have to unmute yourself. There you go. I'm going to pass you over to Amanda. Welcome.
Hey. So saguli sagweg, yonononta ni ang gets waginyanta ni magitaloro, oni da agani gonjol, ganto ongwe homene no dignage. Uskono dun yo hade yo hat dadiji no dignage, kale hasani hari ni wagwilai, kale go igaji wagnas questux ne dagos, ezo nukti, ostuhane ke no lunko ne dagos, and kale go igaji ne wagatsununi, ne na u. So my spirit name is Yonononta, means she sings. I'm from the Turtle Clan, and I'm from the Oneida Nation. I live in Oneida. I live on Elijah Road, and I have 3 children, and I have 1 very bad cat, but Nukji, but I love her just a little bit. And I'm really happy today, and I'm really happy that we could gather here today. So that's basically what I said in my opening there. And yeah, I've met man. I think it's over 5, 6 years. I think, I don't know, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, I think it's over. I think it's like 6, 7 years we've known each other. So that's a long time, but time flies when you're having fun, eh? So yeah, so I'm gonna do real brief, like, who am I? As well, I guess, like, I used to work at, so I started my healing journey, I guess I can say, when I was 21. And that's when everything started for myself, not only for me healing myself, but helping others as well. And when I did that, I didn't go to like I guess like the main, we call it mainstream counselors. So I wouldn't go to London and go sit with a counselor or psychotherapist or anything like that. I actually went back to our roots, or back to the beginning, I guess, like they would say. I actually went to the ceremonies. I finally went to my own ceremonies to get my native name, my spirit name put through the longhouse and making it myself official. And there's reasons why we have to do all that stuff, and that's when I turned to come into like a little bit of like when I was doing my healing, I actually had to do some on my own history lesson for me to understand why I am the way I am, and why my family is the way they are, and then why my nation is the way that they are. And it all starts to make sense when I finally start putting the puzzle pieces together, because like I never went to church, I never went to longhouse, like I didn't go to ceremonies. We just lived, what do they call those, atheists? Yeah. We just lived. I didn't know I was Native until I was like 8 years old. Like, like I just, oh yeah, we're learning this language, and I just thought it was normal. And I didn't really go out that much. We were poor growing up. So now it's nice to be able to provide for my family, like and giving the means, like, and to others. Like I'm always giving, and everyone's like, why do you give so much? Why are you so nice? And I said, well, that's how I am, and that's how my I guess it explains my family that I belong to, the Turtle Clan. So we're always so giving and caring and taking care of each other. So I'm gonna actually turn it to the do my screen share. It's been a little bit since I've done this, so that you can see. Can you see it? Okay, thumbs up. Okay. I don't know if you can see me, but but there I am. Woo. Okay. So I'd like to welcome you all here. I've actually done a lot of work with the local elders here in the community and surrounding communities. When I was like doing my healing work, like I worked alongside like Bruce Elijah, Liz Ekwenzi, Tracy White-Eye, Paul Rodarte, he's passed on, Peter Linklater, he's passed on, Arnold Lascelles, he's passed on, like there's so many like that have helped me. Bob Antone, he was the ED at Kiki, but he taught me a lot. Howard Elijah, just the list goes on. My mom, even my mom was there, and I worked with her, and I did the introduction. And that was just to show this belt here is actually the Oneida belt, and it's actually done all in wampum beads, and it's a part of like just to say who we are. There's actually more triangles than that, but that's the closest I could find to get that was close to us. That's my name there, Yodononta, and it means she sings, or she stands a song up. And actually the Yudlun actually represents, it actually means like the song, almost like but that my name too, it's part of what we call church, because when they would walk by the church, they would hear the hymns being sung, right? So that's how I tried to remember how to say church in my language, but I don't remember it now. I knew how to say church before my own native name. So Mwagin so that's the Turtle Clan, and Onitaaga is the nation that I belong to. That's my family. I was gonna do the opening, but I see I don't want to do. I can do a real quick one, because we're in a time of like sharing. So we're supposed to be resting, taking care of ourselves during this time, and with that, it's we honor the dead at this time. That's the other thing. So we call it Okiwe. And that time that we feast the dead, we honor the dead. And also this is the time that we tell stories, because we're supposed to be resting, getting ready for spring, so that when we get ready to plant, that we're well rested, we're ready to go. We got us, we've had a good winter and feeding ourselves the good, harvest food that we did from the year before. And it's just, I felt it was more appropriate the way that I decided to approach this presentation, to tell it more in a story of the history, but also moving into how I started to do my self-care. Not just how I do, but how I help others as well, like in that are First Nations, or Indigenous. I know there's some people like, what's the right terminology? And I'm like, I don't even know. So I don't mind if you say First Nations. I don't mind if you say Indigenous, like I know what you're talking about. So so with that, Sadios Gonjokwa, Nati on dun nani on deck. Agwe go uskajin do we no ni and guat ni gula. The atene hela dun and gonjekwa yokino ha une onegonus galute su guntilio su ladi sangari on des. Call it yokino ha yochisto gualu. Call it gayena guedagate. Skanat Dali, call it Sungwait Diesel, Dani Tonio Duhagate and then go. So that's like the quick version of the opening. So what I did was give thanks for the people that are here today, for our mother, for the water, for the medicines, for the trees, for the four-leggeds, for the thunders, for our grandmother the moon, the stars, the four beings, and I'll talk about the four beings in a little bit later on. Skonat Dali, he was one of the messengers, and also Sungwai Dizo, so Gajama Do, God, Buddha, whoever that higher power is that you believe in. And I said, now we wrapped our minds all together as one, as we come to focus on what it is we need to do today. So we go right into the history part, and then it's real, I'm going to bang through this because I know it can be heavy, and I'm trying to keep it as cool and like not as like political, I guess you could say. I know I'm trying to stay away from that too, but I can't help it because this is who we are. And I actually had to go through all this and learn about it. So I understood why my people are the way that they are, and how is it that I can help me. And when I help me, then in turn, I would help others. When I did the work at Kikiwanakan, and that was actually a healing center, not a treatment center. That's where alcohol and drugs. We had actually went to the core issues, within spirit, I guess kind of like inner child work. So I'm jumping ahead. So the history, of Turtle Island, 1492 invasion of Turtle Island. Christopher Columbus sailed the big ocean blue, and said he discovered us, that was 531 years ago. And crazy, man. But he was the first human trafficker. He was the first person to, make the people from here on Turtle Island, so North America, slaves. He also worked for the crown. He was looking for gold and silver, and he thought the indigenous people here, when he landed here, that we were the Indians from India. So they thought we were the dotted Indians, and I say, no, we're the feathered Indians. We're the feathered ones. And that's a big one, especially to today, because it's still happening today with the human trafficking with our indigenous men and women, boys and girls. The slave work is still being done today as well. Like I say, like everyone that works, that is First Nations or Indigenous, we all live under the poverty line, unless you're a doctor or a lawyer. So other than that, and the crown still plays a big role in what we do on the First Nation communities, as well. So the crown played a huge role in trying to get us out of here. Part of that too was why they wanted to get rid of us was the smallpox was found in the blankets. They tried to wipe us out. Millions of, the indigenous people were wiped out from smallpox because our immune systems were not used to the diseases that were coming over, and we didn't have the medicines to help fix us, to doctor us, because these foreign germs, our bodies weren't used to it. If not, we had the medicines that we needed here, to help us, the common colds and stuff. Or if we got like cuts and scrapes, with plantain, we put it on, different things like that. One of the biggest things in history for me, because I'm going to focus a lot on the Haudenosaunee, because that's who I'm part of, the Iroquois. So the Six Nations, the Haudenosaunee, the Oneidas and the Mohawks fought with the Canadian and US armies. And where's part of the reason why there's Canada and US? That's because of us. A lot of that, also what had happened when we did that with a lot of the Haudenosaunee, we took a lot of the other nations, the First Nations, under our protection. And for that protection was that they exchanged medicine with us to hold their songs and some of their ceremonies. So we hold a lot of others First Nation ceremonies and songs. So you might hear them a lot if you go to like socials, or I guess like powwows, they'll do like what do they call that? smoke dance. There we go. And the one song they usually do to warm up, it's called Delaware Skin Dance, and that's not ours. That's actually belongs to the Delawares, the Lenape people, and we took their stuff under. We kept that so that they could keep, so that one day when they come back and their youth want their songs back and want their ceremonies back, that we would be able to hand that back over and describe all those beautiful ceremonies back to them. And they're slowly starting to come now, which is beautiful. That I actually traveled to Moraviantown. It's probably about 40-minute drive for me from here, southwest on the 401. And we've actually taught the children there some of the songs, and it was just awesome. They picked it up within like 2 weeks, and boom, they were leading, and it was like, yes, so it's awesome to be able to exchange medicine. We call that exchanging that medicine that way. The other big thing in history too is the U.S. Constitution is based on a Haudenosaunee political structure. So like our governance, they based it off of us. And if you look on here, they took this too right here. If you have one arrow, you can break it right easily. But if you have all the nations together, it's harder for it to break. And that's one of the teachings that our people had given to the U.S. and government when they were trying to figure out the symbol and everything, and what we had believed in too, with that symbolism of the arrows, but also that olive branch too. To remember, like you got to be fair too before we go into war. You got to communicate and all that. So, and the eagle represents a huge thing for us. It's just big, like it's a long story, and I know I only got a little bit of time, so we'll move on. But it is huge. The eagle did a lot for us. He actually saved, I guess, Noah's Ark. Remember Noah's Ark and that flooding? During that time, I'll try and shorten the story because it's so cool. I love sharing about it. During that time with the eagle, he was up with Sungwai Diesel or Gajamado God, and he was telling him about Creator was sad that nobody was practicing the ceremonies no more. And nobody was singing, nobody was being nice to each other. There was war going on. So he told the eagle, or eagle said, there's got to be somebody, there's got to be somebody still practicing. There's got to be somebody still offering their their tobacco, so that they can talk to you. And then Sungwai Diesel was just like, no, I haven't felt it, or I haven't gotten no messages lately. So eagle said, well, give me 3 days. Give me 3 days and I'll circle the world. And when I do, I'll come back and I'll let you know, so that, because Creator was so upset that nothing, the people had forgotten their original teachings, that he was going to flood the whole earth and restart all over again, start life all over again. So eagle took off. He's like, okay, I'm gone. So eagle's flying. He got other birds to help him, to help fly around the world, to find things out. So the first day he didn't find nobody. The second day he seen people, but they were busy fighting. They were arguing. It was just horrible. He was just like, no, like he was calling out to them, but they wouldn't even acknowledge the eagle, because the eagle sends the messages to Sungwai Diesel, to Creator. So the third day, he had until like noon, I think it was. And just as like the eagle was getting like starting to feel hopeless, he's like, oh no, like I don't want Sungwai Diesel, to wipe out the earth. There's got to be something that I can do, there's got to be somebody. So he flew faster, and then he could see some smoke off in the distance, because you know how the eagle can see far. So he flew as fast as he could to that smoke. And then when he got there, as he got closer, he could hear a beating, and it was like constant, and then he could hear this song coming from down by that fire. And as he got closer, he could see that there was a little family there, and there was a man, he was drumming, and that his little boy was singing with his rattle next to him, and the mom was offering, tobacco to the water. And as soon as eagle seen that, he hightailed it back up to the world, because he was worried, because the storm clouds were starting to come over. And so Creator had said, if they close up and you can't come through, that's it, you're done. So eagle, he called out 3 times, out to Creator to stop. I found them, I found the people. And he called out again 3 times, but the clouds just kept getting darker and fuller, and like there would have been no way for Eagle to get through there. So finally, when Eagle went through, he pierced through and he was able to tell Sungwai Diesel, you know, I found them. The family's still doing the ceremonies, they're doing this. So he stopped the flooding from happening. Everything started to clear up. He said, but the one thing that you need to do is go back down and give them that message and sacrifice yourself. And you're that sacrifice to them, to honor them with your feathers. And like after he was done, right? So Eagle did that. He flew back down and did what he had to do. And then, so today we hold those feathers very sacred to us. Like they're very, very sacred to us. So if you get one, they're really, it's, the Eagle had tried, he would have gave his life for us so that we could still be here. And there's more stories about the Eagle and what he had done for us, the people, so that we could still be here. And how important it is, you know, when we see them, because when we see the Eagle, it's like, we know that we're right where we're supposed to be, and that Sungwai Diesel Gajamado, God Buddha, you know, is watching over us, which is really cool. So I just had to share that story. I really love that story about the Eagle and what that represents, you know, and that's why that Eagle's on that seal. Part of the reason why that Eagle's on that seal that we see on the page there. So this is the hard part. I'm going to try and push through this because I don't like this. But one of the other things too is with the residential school, you know, I thought in a million years I would never, ever, 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 ever think that I would ever work at CAS. And lo and behold, the only reason why I went to work there was that they had like a resident elder going there. One of my mentors was visiting the staff, the Indigenous staff there, for debriefing and to help us unload, you know, some of the stuff that we had seen, you know, so the vicarious trauma that we might be carrying from going into the homes and doing the work that we had to do. And I did have to do some I call it relocation of children. I don't like to say the other word. So the first residential schools opened in Canada in the 1870s. And they were run by the Catholic Church. Catholic Church and the Crown were working close together. I don't know if you can see my fingers crossed, but close, that's how close they were, if not more, to do this. And the whole thing behind that was to wipe out the natives. That when the wars were going on, they had seen that everything was around the women. Well, more for the Haudenosaunee women, the families, that everything was around the women. Women. And then the next biggest thing was the children. So they said, if we take away the children and we kill the, you know, and we lessen the minds of those women, there's our chance to wipe out this whole, I guess, race of people, so that we can take over this piece of land. And I've seen this done in other places too. If you take a look back in history, is that they tried to do it to the Greeks. They tried to do it to, you know, like even the Vikings. I like Vikings right now. They tried to do it to them. In India, you know, even like China, they tried to run them out over there. Africa. So the Crown had tried to go all over and do this, run, you know, take out power. I say ego got in the way and the wanting this. It's all it boiled down to, and it's still like that today. So closer to home here, the Mohawk Institute in Brantford, and then we call it the mush hole, because they call it the mush hole is because that was all they were served was mush. And it's like oatmeal, but it tastes worse than that. So it opened in 1831, and which is crazy. And I still can't get over that the doors closed in 1970. 1970. Which is crazy. Mount Elgin is actually in Muncie, so it's like a 10-minute drive for me to go over there and see that. Well, I can't see the place anymore. There's a monument. After it was opened in 1848, and it closed its doors in 1946. So my father went to that school while it was still open, and when they shut the doors, he came back to Oneida, and then they put him in schools all over the reserve. They called them Indian Day Schools. So he went to Indian Day School #1, and he lived right next door. And he was late every day. So I'm told. So this is a picture of the mush hole. It is still there. It's like kind of like a museum now. You can visit it as well. But a lot of Oneidas, Chippewa, Muncie, because we all live close to one another, a lot of my family had gone to the mush hole. They do tours there. They do virtual tours as well. So if you want to go there and see that, I've been there once, and I probably will not go back again because I guess I can say I'm sensitive, and I had some of the children pulling at my shirt while going up the stairwells, and when some of them would tap, or you would hear something on a wall and you would look, and next thing we knew there was like a little hidden area where some of them would try and sneak in and go in there and hide from the nuns. And then when we would show the tour guide was like, oh, we've never seen that. And we actually found some old like cloth in there, like really like little like molded stuff of food, so they've never seen that. So we uncovered a hidden spot that they've never seen. So there's other spots in there that I do not wish to go back into, like it's just so heavy. And that all those things that were done to our people, I won't get too much into it. I could, but I'm going to try and uplift the spirits a little bit as we move on. Coming to the 60s, this is where I learned a lot when I was at CES, as well as that there were policies were enacted in Canada enabled child welfare authorities to take or scoop up Indigenous children from their families and communities for placement in foster homes, which they would be adopted by white families. Too many children were sold and were shipped overseas, and they were never to find their original families because there's no documentation of it. Children taken at birth and mothers, were told that their baby was dead when they were born. So they said that baby was stillborn. So they took the baby, rushed the baby out before they could hear the baby cry. Because all this happened, and it made me wonder why my family is the way they are. Some of my family members are part of this 60 scoop, and they just recently come back and from residential school. So my grandmother went, my dad went, my other grandmother went, and then I had other ones that were part of the Canadian Army and the Marines. So part of that was because those children went there, they didn't have their mom and dad. So because they didn't have mom and dad there, they had the nuns and all that, they weren't shown love. They weren't given hugs. They weren't given kisses. They weren't told, I love you. They weren't shown how to interact with other people. They were just more or less told, you learn the English language, you cannot speak your language or you're going to get beat or raped or whatever. Not necessarily in that order, so the fear was instilled in them to be who we originally are. And some of our people, some of my family members still feel that way today. They get mad when they hear me singing. They get mad at me when they hear me do my introduction, because the fear is still so strong that they don't want me to get hurt like how they did. They don't want my daughter to get hurt like how they did. So it's really, that was a big thing for me to really take a look at, and it really made me see why I didn't get hugs. And then I understood why my mom didn't get hugs. And then that made me think even more why my grandmother didn't get hugs, because it kind of trickled down. So that trickle event of not getting that family, just being taught how to be a family, like it was gone. So can you imagine if you all have children and they're just littles, like I call them littles, so 10 and under, and some foreign person you've never met before comes to your door and you don't know a word of what they're saying to you. And next thing you know, they're grabbing your kids and there's nothing you can do because they're holding a gun to your head. And the children have to go, and you may or may not ever see them again. That's what my people had to go through. And that's what they had to carry for all these years. And especially my parents, my dad, he had to hide from the Indian agent. As soon as they seen that car, they took off over the bridge, or not the bridge, like the hill, and they dug a little hole in the hill, so that guy couldn't find them. And 10 of them had to do that. So hearing the stories is a lot. And this plays a huge role as into why we don't do our ceremonies anymore. Why? Because this had happened, because the RCMP would come to and do this work as well. And if they seen us doing ceremonies, we would get hauled off to jail for practicing our own ceremonies. Our brothers and sisters in Akwesasne, they still do ceremonies at night because the fear is still there that they're going to get hauled away to go to jail. And that's why it's so hard for us to share our ceremonies, share, what works for us and what doesn't work. So I'm real careful about also what I share with y'all tonight, because there is some things that I can share and I'm going to, but other things that I've been asked not to share because that's ours, you know, and that stays with us, because then also people are trying to take it and sell it and make a profit off of it, you know, off of us. That has already been done by the crown, and we don't want that to happen no more. So we're protecting ourselves and who we are and what actually helped us. You know, the prophecies are starting to come true. So what's coming to today, the reservations, though, there's a lot of reservations. So our land was taken away and we're put on these little wee plots of land, and more than likely we couldn't farm on them. We couldn't, you know, we couldn't have wildlife, so we couldn't have chickens or like livestock. It was just so hard. Like where we live in Oneida, it's the Oneida settlement. We're the only place in Canada that has that we own this land, and it's under the protection of the crown. Because we came over from Oneida, New York, we bought this spot, and we do not fall under any of those reservation laws or, you know, guidelines or whatever. We're like a, what do they call, we can do what we want because we bought it. A lot of the things also on there, I say the institution. So there's a lot of systems that were put into place that were foreign to us, that don't make sense to us, and they were used to work against us. So the crown and the Canadian government put up justice systems, education systems, and the health systems, and different other institutions as well that work against us. So it's hard for us to get healthcare. It's hard for us to, you know, get, you know, oh God, like going to like the jails and stuff. It's not fair there either. The education system as well is not fair to us either. Treaties were broken, especially in the health system. The murdered and missing Indigenous women, men, girls, and boys. Like I said, it goes back to Christopher Columbus. That's still done today. We have the highest numbers across Canada right now for murdered and missing Indigenous men, women, children, and human trafficking. It's huge. 401 is the biggest, you know, thing here. Kids can't play outside anymore. We have to keep a close eye on them. Any children anywhere, but for here, it's only a 2-minute drive to the highway, and then they could go any which way, left or right, east or west, and they're gone, and we'll never see them again. Which is fighting not to have the casino here, and I hope they don't. So we come back into, you know, like the healing part. We'll get through that. So I just want to check in real quick and see how everyone's doing. Hi, everybody. I'm trying to see everybody and put it in gallery. Oh, everybody's got their things off. So I'm gonna uplift your spirits a little bit before I move on. How much time I got? Yeah, I got it. What you're gonna do is you're actually gonna just sit nice and comfortably. I'm sure you're all sitting nice and comfortably. I'm gonna ask you to close your eyes. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a nice deep breath in, either in through the nose, out through the nose, or in through the mouth, out through the mouth, whatever you feel is comfortable. Nice deep breath in and breathe out. And all this information that I gave you, if there's any like aches or pains or anything that you might have picked up, or if there's any like stuff going on in your head, with your breath, when your breath goes in, circle it around whatever that ache and pain or whatever that sorrow maybe you feel, or guilt or whatever. Circle it and pull it out with your breath, and breathe out and pull it out through your mouth. And as I'm singing this song, and do it nice and slow, take a couple nice easy breaths, and then nice big breath before I move on. Honanala ni o honana shoni ha we a he honanala ni o honana shoni ha gai na we a he ya honanala ni o honana shoni ha we a he honanala ni o honana shoni ha gai na we a he ya Honanala ni o honana shoni ha we a he honanala ni o hunana shoni ha gai na ya 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 na la ni o hunana shoni ha we ya he hunana la ni o hunana shoni ha gai na ya ya hunana la ni o hunana shoni ha we ya he hunana la Neo hunana shoni ha gai no ya he ya ya. Take a nice deep breath in again. Breathe out. And put your hand over your heart. Okay, I am love. I am light. I have purpose. And it's okay to be me. So when you're ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, wiggle your bum. Make sure you're sitting in that chair in your room. And little nice big yawn. And then welcome you back. How's everybody doing? Yeah, we doing good? Good. So those songs play a huge role in who I am, and it's part of my name. She sings Yorononta, or she stands the song up. And a lot of what I had to do was go back to the original instructions, like in a lot of my people, like I shared, because of what had happened in the past, I had no idea what the heck, why I am the way I am, and why my family is the way they are, and why the heck my nation is the way they are. So because of all that stuff, I had to find the people that would actually sit down and be, willing to share with me. So I was really grateful that I got to work at Kiki Wanakon Southwest Regional Healing Lodge, and it was in Muncie, Ontario. And awesome mentors there, helpers and elders, and it was amazing. And it was strictly just for the Indigenous people to do their healing work. And that's where I started doing sweat lodges, my first sweat lodge was there with Tracy White-Eye, Liz Akwenzi, and then next thing you know, I was jumping in a whole bunch of them with a whole bunch of different people. And that sweat ceremony is, it's a cleansing. We sweat, we get rid, so our pores, the sweat is actually it's 99% emotion and 0.01 water. So when you let go, and when we start leaking, that's the emotion that's coming out that needs to come out, because our body's like, nope, time to get rid of it. So that's why we start sweating, and then also to help us to calm down, because we have this inner fire, that starts to go. So when we start getting mad, right, that inner fire, we start to get hot. We get hot here, we get hot here, and we get hot on our feet. So when that happens, that's when we have to breathe. And when we breathe, we're accessing that water that's in the air and within, especially women. We are responsible for water, taking care of water. So we have to make sure it doesn't get too rough. So when we do that, we take that breath in and breathe out. So grounding, 3 nice big breaths in, grounding yourself, and then coming back to okay, I need to calm down, calm my roll. So I'm going to come. Oh, I didn't start sharing my screen. Sorry. Get too excited. I move ahead on y'all. Okay. This was kind of just my reminder of going back. When you see this, so the turtle, bear, and wolf, those are the 3 families that I belong to. So I'm the turtle, but there's actually 3 families with the turtle clan, 3 families with the wolf, and then 3 families with the bear. All have a clan mother, a chief, a sub chief, a male faith keeper, and a female faith keeper. So I'm actually one of the female faith keepers for the longhouse there. So I have responsibilities within the longhouse, and that's actually to help stand the people up when they need to, need that help. And also I help make sure that the ceremonies are run within there, so I have to be the behind the scenes, I guess, the coordinator while we're having the ceremonies be done there. And also kind of like the right hand woman, I guess, to my clan mother and my chief. And I help remind them too, like, hey guys, you guys are supposed to be talking, talking nice, so I'm kind of like I call it, I'm the referee for them. Oh, let's go on to the next one. And that brings me into the self-care. So we see this picture a lot, that the medicine wheel. The 4 colors that are represented there, the white, the black, the red, and the yellow. The white represents, I say, our white friends. So the Europeans. The black, obviously, I say our Gahunji, the Gahunjis, the Lahunjis, our black friends. The red represents moi, my people. And then the yellow represents the Oriental people. So China, Japan, them. And the reason why we knew this, even before we met you all, like before Christopher Columbus sailed the big ocean blue, we knew that there were different types of people that were placed here on earth with the original instructions, from Sangwai Dizo Gijamado God. He had sent us out. So I'm going to do this real quick story about Creator. So Creator created 4 men, all those different colors. So he said, okay, here's your instructions. You all have your own heartbeat. You have your own, voice. You have your own thoughts. You got your instructions on how to be, your original teachings. Now go. You go here, you go here, you go here, and you go over there. So what we were told is that the white man, as soon as he got the go ahead, he took off. Boom, gone. You see, kind of like Roadrunner, and he had the dust coming. He was so anxious to get there and do what he wanted to do. Then it went to the Oriental people. And the Oriental people were a little bit, they're kind of hesitant. It took them a little bit to go. And they were just like, hey, but I want to learn more from you. So Creator Sango Dizo Gijamado, he was just kind of like, go, you'll be fine. I'll be sending helpers. Don't worry. You have everything you need. So reluctantly, the Oriental, man he left and went where he was supposed to go in the east. And then the black people were, really, really hesitant. They're like, no, I don't want to go. I just want to stay and learn. I'm happy here. I like this. I don't want to feel, because that's one of the reasons why we got sent here to earth, was to feel and experience, heartache and all that stuff. And I was like, why would I want to do that? When I heard the stories. But eventually, they said it took a couple of years before the black man finally left and went and did what he was supposed to do, those original instructions. And then it took the Anishinaabe, person forever to leave. So kind of like latched on to Sangwai Dizo and was like, I'm not going. It took him the longest. And then they really got more teachings the longer he stayed. But then after, eventually, Sangwai Dizo was kind of like, okay, you got to go. So like, kind of like, I got to empty the nest. You got to go. I got other things I got to do, So we finally made our way here too. And that's why we got the 4 directions, and that we were told, you go here and this is what you take care of. You go over here. So the Africans went down to Africa. The Asians went over to the east, and that's their area there. And then the Haudenosaunee people, or us, we were supposed to take over, we did. We were part of, North America. And each one of us, like I said, was given a drum. We have our own heartbeat. And that comes in the next one here. We're given our own drums. So if you think about it, we have our drums. I have some here too. This is our water drum. Oh, I'll have to stop sharing, right? So you can see me. This is our water drum. This is a PCV pipe, actually. And then it makes a cute little pinging noise. I got no water in it right now. But that's our water drum. The Anishinaabe people, they have hand drums. I have one too. So this is theirs. And each one of them are made of like the hide of an animal. So an animal sacrificed itself so that we can use these sacred items. And so when you think about it, when you think of everybody else's drums that they were all made from the hide of an animal. So the Europeans, they had their drums that was made from a hide. When you go back and think about it, they have theirs. The Oriental people have those huge drums, right? That was made, from hide as well. You go to the Africans too, they got their drums. The Aztecs, they have theirs, you know, like all over the Hawaiians, everyone has that heartbeat. So that heartbeat of our mother, the earth. So when we hear that song being sung or that drum being hit, you know, like, and it represents the heartbeat of our mom. And because that was the first thing that we heard was our mother's heartbeat. And even when we go back to the earth, that's the last thing we hear too, before our spirit goes back. So it's really cool. Like, and some of the songs are sung that way too, you know, like that double beat, you know, when, you know, how loud it is. That heartbeat that we all have. Well, hey, oh, hey, ah, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, ah, hey, oh, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, yo, hey, hey, ah, oh, hey, hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, yo, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, yo. Way hey ah ho way hey ah way hey ah way ah. Wasn't gonna sing that song, but I just had to sing it. Could you hear it? Yeah. Wonderful. First, I just said sing, so I was like, okay. I follow spirit. I like that one meme that I have on. I posted on Facebook sometimes and said, I work with spirit. So if you see me talking to myself, I'm having a staff meeting. That's me. Moving on. I got to move on. So the ceremonies. Oh, I got to share my screen again. Sorry. And share. So the ceremonies. I shared a little bit about the sweat lodge ceremony here. And this is it here. Longhouse ceremonies, there's sun dance ceremonies. The sun dance is actually like the Ojibways, rain dance ceremonies, Ojibways and Crees. Shaken tent, that's on the Ojibwe ceremony. Sweat lodge ceremony is actually Ojibwe, but the Haudenosaunee did have sweat lodges, I learned, but only the men went in, and they actually built them into the hills next to the river, and only the men went in. The women didn't go in because we had our own sweat lodge, and that was whenever we're on our time, so our monthly, that was our time. And we knew how to channel that energy into the flow every month, and get rid of that negative feeling that way. But nowadays, because of what had happened, we don't know how to do that. And we don't know how to read our energy or how to move it ourselves or whatever. So the women do have been joining in the sweat lodge ceremonies more and more now. And I'm actually a sweat lodge conductor too. So, and then coming into the self-care for ourselves, as well as the actual the foods and the medicines. So I have the corns, beans, and squash, you know, that's part of the Haudenosaunee. That was our staple. And that's what Sky Woman brought down with her to earth when she fell through the hole, and that was some of the medicine or the foods that she lived off of with her daughter when she was here. So the Indian corn, you know, the beans and the squash, and she's amazing. You know, like when they got three beans, three sister soup. Oh, it's amazing. Also like the, you know, the wild game too, you know, like the deer, the moose, you know, like the beaver, muskrat, we ate all that, you know, like and then the medicines that we use, you know, tobacco, sage, cedar, sweetgrass, but also there's strawberries too. The strawberry seeds was in there too when she came down. So that's why we have what we have here, and you don't find that anywhere else. So it's really cool. With that, and with our medicines, like I shared before, our medicines are here to help aid us in anything that was put here for us to help us. So our creation story has like a good and bad twin. Good and bad. So, you know, like okay, so example, creator made, say, the rose, right? And the rose has thorns on it. So his evil twin brother actually put the thorns on her. He said, that's too beautiful. I'm going to slap some thorns on her so that when they go to reach for it, they're going to get pricked. So he added that little bit, like, you know, like, of his evilness to things, but I say it made it look even more beautiful because the rose is then protected so they can stay there. So that little one, you know, because it's just so, it smells amazing. It has so many like awesome uses, right? like with doTERRA, and then that rose oil is like so expensive, but it's like so good and it smells amazing. But with that, some of our medicines were harvested here. And I'm going to go a little bit into doTERRA. So like the arborvitae, I think it's arborvitae. So the red cedar is harvested in BC, and they work with the indigenous tribes out there. And that is like a beautiful smell. That's one of my favorite oils. And I mix it with lime, and oh my God. Anyways, that's one of our original medicines. And that medicine there helps open up the airways. It's a calming oil as well. So if you like got boys, that'll help calm their butts down for sure. If you diffuse that. Cedarwood as well. Sandalwood, that'll help calm their butts down as well. If you want your hubby to go to sleep, I would do all of them. Just 1 or 2 drops, in diffuser, and you're good to go. Tried it, it worked. So those are the types of things we have in this area. Even like the corn, beans, and squash, even the silk from the corn was used as a medicine for us. The squash, every bits a piece, that the leaves, we even use the leaves, like to help us with medicine. So everything that we use was medicine. All of the deers that we got, we used every single piece of that deer to help us there. Even on our we call them gustoas, so the hats, the traditional hats that the men wear, and that shows if they got the antlers on there, that's one of the chiefs. And only the chiefs get those antlers. That's the other thing. So there's me, antlers. I don't know if you can see me, but what else did I have on here? So I come to the end, as far as I know. Questions. That's like real quick, like boom. I missed a whole bunch, but I'm trying to put it all in the one hour that I got hour-ish. There's so much more, but I really had to emphasize, the importance of the history of our people, because not a lot of people get that in school. It's not taught in school. It's not in the textbooks. A lot of the teachings have been coming out since, the babies have been found at the residential schools, or, they say rediscovered, but they were always there. So now we're honoring them, that they're gone, that they've been found, and that they're being sent home to be, taken care of in the right way. So proper burial of them. And that's why you see a lot of like murder, or what is it? Every Child Matters t-shirts going around, orange representing that. The red dress is representing the murder of missing women, girls, and then also boys and men, because they're going missing too. It's huge. It's a big thing. Like I said, there's so much to do, so much to learn. One of the things, like I say, I had talked with Christina and Melanie about was, like even how to become an ally yourself. And part of it is just taking the time to learn about the history. I guess it depends on what area you're in. Like say if we had someone here from Sweden, right? So, and so getting to know the locals, like I say, like, so the people that are here in like Toronto, London areas, get to know the, the Oneidas, the Chippewas, the Muncies. You can I say, go to our internet elder, Google, and type in Muncie, Oneida, Muncie, Chippewa. There we go. There, I was like missing one. There's 3 nations all within, like, we're all touch each other. The only thing that divides us right here is the Thames River. There is First Nations people living in London, so there's a whole slew of them. Crees, Ojibways, Oneidas, Chippewas, Muncies, Potawatomis. Oh, there's a whole bunch there. And we're getting a lot more foreign, I say, visitors coming to this area, and we're starting to run out of space here. And I know our people were meant to be very welcoming and take care of taking care of those that we don't know or haven't seen before in our lives. And that's part of our original instructions, is that you never know when Sangwai Dizo Gajamado, God, Buddha, is ever going to show up in what form. So they say always be nice and kind to everybody that you come across, because you never know when he's going to come or she's going to come, and see what you're doing and see if you're following your original instructions. And I believe that, in other traditions, other cultures, other beliefs, that's in their I say your creation stories, the Bible, right? It's in there, right? Take care of thy neighbor, and other cultures that I've come across, they have those same teachings too, treat everyone with kindness, or what do people say? Karma. No, yeah, that happens. That happens too. I guess we'll jump.
Questions for you, Amanda? And there's some popping up in the
Yeah.
chat as
Guys,
well.
start seeing the
Amazing,
chat.
by the way. That was great.
Oh my goodness. Now, before we go into the questions, because I know there's a couple popping up and I have some, were you still hoping to do a smudging ceremony or walk us through that? Is that to
Yep.
be at the end, or do you want to do that before the questions?
We can do it before in case somebody has to leave.
Okay, sure. Sounds
I
wonderful.
can do that. I
Excited.
can do that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just trying to read
The
Okay.
the chat, yeah. Yep, some of the questions were, what is being done about these missing people? And then is the belief that each person has their own instruction or path that was that preordained? Did I say that right? Yeah, so we can go into those questions too
Yep.
after the smudging.
Yeah, we'll do the smudging and then we'll get into that.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Okay. So a lot of us use the shells, we use them. Albany shells, beautiful shells, and they can withstand the heat. That's why we use them. Because sometimes it can be really hot, depending on how much medicines that you put in here. So the medicine that we're going to use tonight it's called white buffalo sage, and it's dried out. Some of them come in different forms. Up north they have like the loose sage, so it's like softer. I don't have any on me. It's all at work. I forgot to bring it home. So this is the one that we're going to use, and it's actually a women's medicine, this white buffalo sage or white sage. And what the sage does when you burn it, I call it like a smoke bath is the best way or smoke shower, I guess. So what we're doing is like we're cleansing ourselves from the top all the way down to the bottom. And we use our hands, because our hands have a lot of energy in them too, to help move and shift any of that negative energy that you might have picked up throughout the day. Or it could be like whatever, stuff just all of a sudden pops up. You could be having a marvelous day and then something just triggers you. And then all of a sudden, boom, like you're leaking or you're like really saying some harsh words. This will help calm your butt down, I say. The other medicine that I'm going to use, you can't really see it. Where's my other? Wait. So where'd it go? So the other one that I put in there, but we don't see it, but it's that Indian tobacco. You can burn that as well. And what that tobacco does, it's kind of like, it works like, I don't know if you can, it's hard to see it. This is all dried up and it's like crushed together. Usually it's a great big brown leaf. It's all dried up. So we say when you want your prayer, when we say offer your tobacco, and that the moment that you offer it or you burn it or you put it on the ground or you offer it to the water, that it's faster than cell phone. It's instant. The moment it leaves your fingers or your hand, that your prayer is heard by the ancestors. And it's going, God, Buddha, whoever you believe, that higher power, that this stuff works faster than that. So we're going to add that to the smudge as well. A lot of people don't do it all the time. Like sometimes, like a lot of times with ceremony, we'll use it. But that's as far as I can go with the tobacco. With that, but that's one of our medicines that we use quite a bit. It's like our cell phone connection to Sangwai Diesel, to God. And then a little bit better picture of like the sage. If you can see there. Without it going blurry. That's going in. And I also have sweetgrass, but I don't know where it went. I think my daughter's borrowed it to go to class today, which is good that she gets to take it to Fanshawe. Oh, there's my sweetgrass. So sweetgrass is actually grown locally. It's long pieces of grass and it smells amazing. So we burn this, and this is a male medicine. So the males will actually burn the end and they smudge with this too, but women, we smudge with it too as well. I just love the smell of it. I just like, if I could like have like this like wrapped around me all the time, I would. It just smells so good. That will be going in there as well. And then the last one, can't find it. I feel like I'm like Mary Poppins. I keep popping out stuff out of this little bag. The last thing that I like to use is actually like bear root. And the bear root, this is actually grounded up, and it actually looks like a root, like a black root. And when you start to grind it, it looks like this light brown stuff. So I actually like use the coffee grinder to ground it up, and I actually put it in the smudge. So what that does is actually help as a protection part as well. So like any negative energy that tries to come near you or whatever, it'll just go boom. So like your own invisible force field.
What plant is that from? The bear root?
Osha, I think they call it.
Oh, shy.
Osha. Where I got mine was from New Mexico. We got friends that live out there, and they say bring your garbage bags and you could fill those suckers up if you want. So I'm like, yes, but I haven't been able to get out there because COVID, right? And then need to save up to go out there. That's the other thing. And then there's so much to see out there too. Ojo Caliente, hot springs. Yes, if you ever go there, that's an awesome place to go. Pablo's out there, like just amazing. Food's amazing too. Sapoilas, I think that's how you call them, sapoilas. They're like fry, I call them fry bread, but they're like hollowed out in the middle, and you put honey in them. Oh my God. Don't both are bad for you, especially me because I'm diabetic, but still like I could eat a whole basket of that when I go to the restaurant. I'm just like, yes. And their corn soup is amazing too. It almost tastes like ours here, but so they have corn out, like they have corn as well, and they're just they're the staple, right? Corn. So yeah, back to this. I can squirrel. Bear root. So it's also like a pain medicine too. So you can actually take it. You're not gonna die. Like what I do is like I put a little bit under my tongue before I go in a meeting, let it sit in there, and I'll get into my system. And if I accidentally swallow it, that's okay. I'm not gonna die. And it works as that protection as well. If I forget, to do my own personal, like my white light or whatever color light I need to surround myself, with that protection, because we need that sometimes in some of the foreign places that I go. Or they're not so much foreign, but there's so much negative energy there that I need extra help. And that's what we use the medicines for as well. So you'll sometimes see people wear like little medicine bag, like leather pouches here. That's their protection. Don't touch it. If you can, don't touch it. If they go to hug you, try not to hug it. So do the A hug. So now that our smudge bowl is all loaded up, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and light it. I gotta get mine. So if you can too, like if you decide to do this, and this is only meant for you, not to share. And I say, if you want this teaching for others, that you come and find somebody like me, or other First Nations, Indigenous people, to share this teaching with them, because this is ours. From here, and that you use like a wooden stick. Wait for the end to burn a little bit, because there's chemicals in there and we don't want to cross contaminate. So now it's burned a little bit. Oh, it almost went out. Then you can put it in. Oh, don't go. Well, actually, almost it didn't light. Too much female energy. That's the other thing. Y'all too strong. But that's a good thing. There's more teachings that go behind lighting the smudge and everything, the actual fire teachings. Those are the male teachings. We take care of the water. And there's ceremonies for that too. So full moon ceremonies, you'll see that around a lot too. You can smudge the water, even though like it's in a bottle, but I still can smudge it. I can bless it. So what we're gonna do when you do that smudge, try to take everything off. No shinies, if you can. And what the shiny does is actually it blinds spirit, the spirit helper that's coming to help you. And even your spirit, it'll even blind your spirit. So I have my necklace on, but that's okay. I try to cover it. I'll pull like my shirt up or whatever and try not to expose it. But what we do is we smudge our head, so we clear our mind so that we can think all the beautiful things, and that are like use our mind the way that Sangwai Diesel Jamado gave us our mind to use it for good. We're gonna cleanse our ears so that we can hear all those beautiful things that Sangwai Diesel Jamado, God Buddha, hear, those beautiful songs sung by the birds and the animals and us, the humans. So we can hear all those beautiful things that are happening around us, and that the words that we need to hear to help uplift our spirit too. We need to cleanse our throat so that we can say and sing all those beautiful things that we need to say to the world. Acknowledgement. And all those, so that you don't have that fear to say what it is that you need to say, to be able to have that courage and that strength to be able to do that. And lastly, we clean our heart so that we may feel that unconditional love that Sangwai Diesel Gajamado, God Buddha, and our mother, our mother, the earth, the ancestors that surround us all the time, and also those people that are around us, that we can accept their love and that unconditional love, and that we're able to give that as well. And then anywhere else you might be feeling like her aches and pains. So for me, I'm like a whole body thing. Like I'm just like, man, my knees, my hips, my back, my feet some days, because I'm on my feet almost all day, every day almost. So, and you can do that whenever you want. That's the other thing. There's no right or wrong. Even if you just use sage, that's okay. Or if you have sweetgrass, that's okay. Light the end and you do that. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. Follow spirit, wherever you need to go. You can smudge the whole front, the back, you can keep it going. I usually have this going during stuff like this, Zoom meetings. I'll have it going. I have it right below the thing and people start to see the smoke coming up and they're like, oh, man, it's got her smudge going again. I'm just like, man, like I got to stay happy through this. And it helps calm me down, and it's got a beautiful scent to it. Like it's hard to describe the smell, like over Zoom. Like I wish there was like a scent thing where I could just, and then you could instantly smell it. But that's the quick, Reader's Digest version, I guess, of smudging, the medicines that we use, try not to put it out when you're done with it. Like say we're done now, right? Let it burn out the way it's supposed to burn out. Then when you're done, you actually take the ashes and stuff, even though there might be some sage left over, not unburnt, is that you take it outside and try to take it to a tree. If you live in a city and there's just no trees nearby, put it on the city street and it'll get cleaned away by the water and it'll go get filtered through that way. But we try to give it back to the earth because all these are plant life and we try to give it back. So the drains and stuff will eventually make it somewhere to a lake or stream or ocean. So it'll be going back that way. So the intent is there. Okay. Cool beans.
Even through Zoom, you can feel the energy coming through.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's all about intention. So I really believe that is, the main thing. It doesn't matter if we're in person or over, the internet. Although I do miss the smell. I wish I could smell it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Amanda. That was absolutely amazing. Just so you know, somebody had to leave and they did write a little message to you in the chat that they will see you. Shirley wrote that. Migwetch. Does that mean thank you?
Yeah, Migwetch, yeah.
Migwetch. Okay. I've learned something. So, oh my goodness, where do we start with questions? Okay. So I want to circle back to, I think it was Pauline. What's that?
Oh, I was like, I'm gonna be there.
He thinks you are.
Reading your message, and
I
I'm like,
think she's going to see you tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. I don't know. there's snow coming. I planned on staying home.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. Ooh.
Okay, so we go.
Okay, so I'm just circling back to the first question, was Pauline asking about the missing people and what is being done about that?
Absolutely nothing. There's
Hmm.
nothing
Like
being
the
done.
Government.
Yep, the Canadian government and the crown, so that we still like, that's their way of trying to wipe us out. When they did the CAS thing, they were hoping that by the year 2000 that we would have been wiped out because of the residential school.
Hmm.
And the 60s school. That was their intentions. It was written down. Justin Trudeau, not Justin, his dad. Who's his dad again?
Pierre,
Here
poopy head.
had hoped that we would be gone by 2000. But we're still
Wow.
here. We're still popping out babies. And they're
But-
strong. That next wave coming is just amazing. The gifts that they're bringing is just insane. Like
And the
even my
teachings
daughter,
you're bringing back.
yeah,
Yeah.
their gifts are coming through sooner, and
Yes.
they're running with it. So it's just like, oh, this is so awesome. You know, like even my little nieces and nephews, them too, like they see people, they see ancestors, and I'm like, oh my God, you can see them. I can feel them, but you can see them, you know, like encouraging that of them, you know, like for their gifts to come through. So it's just, oh, I'm just like, yes. So the prophecies are coming true. That's the other thing. I seen your hand up. I don't, what's her name?
Yeah, I was the one that asked the question and about what's being done. And are there not some Indigenous men and women on the police force or in their government there in Canada that can push something forward to, this is just not right. I mean, I'm incensed about that. And I just feel that there's got to be somebody
There-
addressing this.
A lot of that is done by the First Nations themselves. So the
Yeah.
families that find out, then they rally together, or they'll bring the nation together, and then they off to Ottawa we go, to bring education to the people. And I say the people by all of Canada and US, to say this is going on. This needs to stop. But it's not just us it's happening to. It's every race, but ours is the highest number because of how much poverty our people go through, that they're willing to do anything to get money to eat, you know, like that's why the human trafficking, you know, the sex slave, you know, industry, you know, like our young women and men, our boys are going into that because they're hungry.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for doing what they got to do to eat. Like if that was me, I probably would have had to do that too, but I'm lucky, I'm grateful, you know, that
Yeah.
even though we were poor, at least I knew I had somewhere to go. As bad
Yeah.
as I thought my life was, I still had a home to come home to. Like, so I'm grateful that my father was still able to hold on to some of those family values that he
Yes.
had, and that he instilled it in us, and now my daughter has it, some that effect. But those that didn't get that, you know, those are the people that I work with every day. And some of the women and girls, men were found, and I have worked with them, and they're the ones that are taking the lead in trying to find them because they know where to go. They've been there.
Oh, they have,
So-
some people have been found.
Mhm. Some
Good.
have, but some have been found dead. A lot more are being found dead
Uh,
than alive. So education, that's the part, is
Yes.
education. So that's why I started out with the history, because this education wasn't taught in our school systems, and they're not taught across the world either. So when I have this opportunity, my elders had said,
Mhm.
share the history as much as you can. Try not to go too deep. I tried to not to go too deep, but it just
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Hard not to.
It's a
Well,
very, yeah, it's a very hard subject, and you
Mhm.
did it perfectly. I mean, we need to know, like you said, we need education, we need awareness. And I also loved how you brought in how to be an ally, because personally, as a white person, you feel kind of scared that you're going to misstep and say the wrong thing. You know, do I say Indigenous? Do I say First Nations? Do I say, you know, like,
Yeah.
can I use the word tribe? Like, I mean, I've been called out, like, you know, Amanda, we've had this conversation for using the word tribe because I'm not Indigenous. And I was told I can't use that word. And there's so many sensitivities now.
Yeah.
And not necessarily even coming from Indigenous people, but from
No.
other cultures who are putting it
Yeah.
upon us, right? And the whole white guilt thing. And it's
Yeah.
a really, it's really kind
Tricky.
of a
It's tricky.
flaring subject right now. So it's tricky. And I really appreciate how, I mean, for me, everything is about love. Love and intention. If I come in with a beautiful intention, not at all in anything to do with hate or making someone feel lesser than or anything, you know, that's my intention. And I so appreciate that that's how you receive it. You know, you know that I'm coming with an open heart, and because I want to learn, I want to be your ally, you know, and it's and I appreciate that you've definitely come to the point, you know, where you come with an open heart and you realize that some of us white people, we just don't know what to say or how to handle it or what's appropriate, what's not, you know, it's
yeah, and it's going to be different for every person, every Indigenous person that you come across, you know, like, because like I said, I'm lucky and fortunate that I've done my research. I've done my history lesson, I guess, with Google too. But I had the opportunity to sit with elders, you know, and not a lot of my people, even my age, they don't know this. They don't know about this. They might have, they just, so it just depends on I say, okay, this is the other part. So I strongly believe in spirit, and that we follow our gut. You ever hear that? Like, listen to your gut. The gut never lies. That is so true, because that is spirit. Everyone has spirit. Doesn't matter what color you are. You be red, green, polka dot, antennas, you know, tail. I don't care. You have a spirit, and follow that, because if the person that you're approaching and you get that weird vibe, trust in it, because more than likely they don't know, or they might come at you and be like, hey, right? And I don't want that to happen to you either. So that's why I'm glad that I was asked to do this. I've done another workshop out in Ridgetown, and it's similar to what I've done there. And I said the same thing, you know, you ever, I guess, like Jiminy Cricket, your spirit is your Jiminy Cricket. Follow it, trust it, you know, and it's not going to steer you down the wrong way, because one of the teachings that we're given with that, following our spirit, is our spirit every night when we go to sleep, it leaves us and goes ahead and sees what we're going to do the next day. You know, those deja vu moments.
Yes.
That's when ego jumps in and says, no, this didn't happen, you know, like, or this isn't cool, you know. But yet when you start having those deja vu moments, spirit is trying to yell and scream at you, you are right where you're supposed to be, because it had gone ahead and looked ahead for you and come back. So that's how we see
Cool.
deja vu.
I love that.
Seers have that ability to do that too, like, but they do it for other people, you know. So
Right.
so it's just, everyone has gifts, like each and every one of you have your own gift. Everyone can do, you know, like, I love this too. I am so in love, like, love the pandemic. Some people don't, but I do, because it helped me work on myself more, and I actually did a lot of healing work. But I also love tarot, and that helped my spirit, you know, my gift to come through too. Like, I didn't realize I had a gift until I start using tarot, and it's another tool. I say tool. So this is like my tool bag, my bundle. In it, I have like my fan, my smudge kit. I said my smudge kit, my smudge bowl, my medicines, everything that I need to help me, but also others. And this is the new addition. I actually have oils in there too, because it's medicine.
Yeah.
If someone's having a hard time breathing, I'm like, here, have a whiff of this. And it's usually eucalyptus. And if they like it, I'm like, well, I got some easy air. Let's slap it on your chest, you know, and I'll be like, hey, now sniff it, put it on your nose so you can smell it. Let's go, you know, like, open up the airways, you know, all those different things. So it's just, I'm not stuck just to First Nation, you know, my original ways. Like, whatever works for you, great. You know, like, if you go to church and you go to your own beliefs, like I have, my family does that. Some of them are church and some of them go to ceremonies. That's okay. But don't cross the two, because it will not work. The church ways work for that belief system, and our belief system works this way. So kind of like we call it the two row. The Dutch and the Haudenosaunee made treaty, and that two row wampum, the Dutch would stay in their boat and we would stay in our canoe. Not once would we ever cross and put our foot in theirs, and they wouldn't put their foot in our canoe. We would stay like this. So their teachings, their beliefs stay over here. We do what we do over here. We believe in that, and we would never cross paths, because that two row is just straight, like parallel lines together. But we will walk side by side. Nobody's better than, less than, weaker than, stronger than the other, and that we will do everything together simultaneously. And that not only goes with the Dutch, you know, like that's in relationships with each other, the man and the woman. We use that for men and women's roles and responsibilities as well. The Ojibways, they use that as well, that teaching as well. I haven't heard their version of it, but I just know mine, which is cool.
Can I, one more ask you one more question?
Yep.
I am a Canadian who is American now, but I was born in Canada and I have Ojibwa great grandmother ancestry. And I didn't know that until I was a little older. But I heard that, well, I had a lot of feathers that I had, hawk feathers I had found, swan, all kinds of different feathers that I've been collecting. And not long ago, I made a band of all my feathers that I had found. And I wanted to use that and wear it when I play my drums, you know, and which I really treasure. And what my question was, when I was looking online, I saw that people could just buy these headdresses, you know, and they're wearing them as a not with the intention, it just as like a, you know, a fancy hat or whatever, and they didn't have the meaning behind it. I feel I made it because it was important to me. I just one day I just felt like I want to do this, and as I was making it, I was playing chants from the Ojibwa tribe, and it was meaningful to me. However, now I'm wondering if I should have been doing that. If it's like, I don't know how to say it, stepping on toes or something, you know. I feel like there is some
appropriation.
yeah, I feel a little, is it okay? I mean, I'm wondering what you think about that.
Good question.
Is that a hard question?
That's like a loaded question.
I know.
But my answer is gonna be different than say like my mom or
Okay.
my mentor Bruce or Lizette Coenzi. You know, like it depends on who you come across and what their beliefs and their teachings are. It's gonna be different everywhere. Like I said, whatever floats your boat, go for it. You know, like if it makes you feel good, do it.
And it's in my own personal place. It's not outward. I'm not wearing it out.
Oh, then you're good.
It's for my own self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
stuff I do here that I don't do out there, you know, like, or I wouldn't show use, right? Because that's my own ritual.
Yeah.
You've created your own thing that makes you feel happy, that happiness, that joy, that love for self. By all means, keep doing it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So with that same line of thought then, Amanda, if you're doing the smudging, for example, that you shared with us so wonderfully, is that then again crossing over and something we shouldn't be adding in, or, you know, like how do we know what we should and shouldn't be?
It's more when you start to share that teaching that I shared with you tonight.
Okay.
As I say, refer back to someone that you know. So like if you need to say like you want your children to learn about it, then okay, you come back to me or somebody else in the area that can help offer that teaching to them. We say go back to the experts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because there's so much more behind the smudging. Like like I said, there was more teachings that I'm not sharing with you that need to, you know, that we keep for us, but that cleansing ceremony, because now I know that they do it in Europe too. Like you got the frankincense.
Yeah. The churches.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Right. So every place I encourage you to research what it is, where you come from, and what teachings or what cultural beliefs, you know, like what rituals is it that your people do for your area that you're originally from, your family's originally from. Because like I said, we all got our own drum, we got our own, you know, like medicines that we have our own teachings, our own creation stories, you know, like the Bible, you know, like in Westwood, it's the creation story. We all go back to that, you know, like finding out who you are, you know, like and using yours. If ours works, then cool, but I encourage you to go back and find out what came from your family background,
Mhm.
help you, because that's where the medicines were put to help your family in that area.
I remember you telling me that when we were talking about this presentation. I found that super interesting because I'm really drawn to your culture, for example, but I haven't really ventured in and found out, old English or Scottish, whatever, traditions and medicines and, ceremonies and things like that. And so I think that's a really great advice to,
Mhm.
start there and
Mhm.
see what calls you home, right? But I also appreciate that saying that we can safely and with the right intention practice, for example, this ceremonial cleansing that you've shown us tonight, as long as it's for our own use, right? We're not out teaching it or
Yeah.
profiting from it or doing anything like we're thinking we're an expert and showing others. But if we've been shown, like you've shown us tonight, we can use it as a personal self-practice, right? With permission. Okay, wonderful. That's really good to know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Dagmar has a question.
Oh, and there's
I-
also, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say there's a few questions from Lori in the chat as well.
Actually, I don't have a question. I have more a remark, because when you said you were taken aback by the word tribe, or somebody told you you couldn't use it. Europeans had tribes everywhere. Anglos were tribes, Saxons were tribes, Germans were tribes,
Yeah.
Gaelic were tribes. They're all tribes. So
And I
I
was
mean,
just a
we all
difficult
come
person.
from tribal communities, because in the old ways you couldn't survive if you weren't a tribe. You
Yeah.
had to be a community, and that community had a name. And so I think that's complete nonsense. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you saying that, because I felt the same, and I actually said, well, I could use the word sisterhood, but then I'm like, am I leaving out any gentlemen who want to join? And then I could use the word community. And then I looked up the word community and it was like old Scottish word. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm Scottish either. I'm like, am I allowed to use that word?
Yeah, like what? Yeah.
Where do you
It
draw
gets
the
a little
line?
ridiculous.
And again, it was part of the intention that it was used, because I think their argument was that the word has been, or at one period of time, it was bastardized to make it seem as almost like an insult or lesser than. Unfortunately, people misuse languages, and but that wasn't my intent. So I had that conversation with Amanda, who made me feel much better about it. So yeah, but you're right, Dagmar. Thank you for that.
Mhm. Yes, I agree, Dagmar.
And then
Okay.
jump into a couple of questions for Lori. So Lori, I'll start with the last one that you wrote. When we were talking about the Indigenous people, that when you mentioned Indigenous people were to be wiped out, did you mean the people physically gone? Is that what the intention was? Or was it more their beliefs and their
Both.
culture?
Their
et cetera?
identities. Yeah.
Both.
Both.
Okay.
Both. They were hoping more that we were gone, but because they see as the years got closer to 2000 that they realized not that. So let's get rid of their language. Let's get rid of their cultural beliefs. Let's get rid of their, who they are, as a people, to give up on who we really are. And we were almost there. But like I said, this next generation coming up, we call it the 8th fire was lit. These young ones coming up, holy man, like I don't even want to mess with them. Like I don't want to piss none of them off. That's the other thing. I'm like, woo, you need a smudge. You need to come. You can go and sit with me. Come on, little one.
Light will always win over darkness, right? Good
Yes.
over evil. So
And but it takes us that I call us the aunties and the uncles, so we would be considered all aunties here. It takes us aunties to help those young ones, to remember how to be good, kind people, to each other. Yes, our fire's gonna get, or we're gonna get mad. That fire's gonna start to go. My daughter's in that right now in business class at Fanshawe, and I've really had to talk her down and be like, you need to calm down. I said, don't use the F word. Like, because I have to remind her, you're not only representing yourself when you're there, you're representing our family, you're representing our clan, you're representing our nation. And that's huge when you go in there, when you use those words are sometimes so harsh, and we don't, she doesn't even realize sometimes the words are coming out of her mouth because her passion is so great for who she is, as a Haudenosaunee woman. You know, like, it's just, I have to remind her, did you swear? No. Okay, check. Did you do it with good intent? Yes, mom. And then she's like, but I did get kind of angry. And I'm like, but that's where my other sisters come in, you know, like I have sisters from Lenape, you know, Moravian Town, one from Walpole, and they help talk to her. Her grandmother talks to her, my mom. She's got awesome helpers at school too. I've talked to them, and you know, they're like, okay, we know she's on this, she's more they say traditional. I don't like say traditional. She knows her ways, and she uses her voice very, very strong because she was bullied when she was younger. And we helped her to use her voice against them, you know, to tell them not to do that no more, to stand up to herself. And boy, could that girl stand up for herself now. So watch what you wish for.
Yeah.
The other thing, watch what you put out there, because those ancestors are listening.
Yeah.
And they'll answer you. And they have answered me, because I said, I'm open to the overabundance of wealth that is coming my way. And I kept saying that. And I didn't mean this. I didn't mean the money. And what had happened was that doorways flung open for me. And I'm now working with the people again. I get to use my gifts every day. I got the option to travel. That's the other, I love traveling. So, as you know, Christina knows, I love it. And just to be able to share when I can, that was my thing. I want to be able to share when I can, educate people when I can, because I too was kind of bullied coming up, even learning myself from my mentors, being told I'm too young. I'm too young to do a full moon ceremony. I'm too young to run sweat lodge. I'm too young to be a faith keeper. I heard all that, and I'm just like, what? And then they're like, you're like baby. And I'm like, what the hell? So back then I was like 31, 32 when I started getting all these responsibilities. I'm 42 now, and now they're still saying that I'm too young. I'm still baby. And I'm like, step aside. I'll show you how it's done. And I get it done. And they're like, oh my. And I don't need to ask nobody. I just go ahead and do it right from start to done, like finished. And I'm cleaning up, and they're just like,
Huh?
yeah. Like, whoa, okay. And then my daughter's coming right behind me, and she's doing the exact same
Even
thing.
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda,
Laura,
do
you have your hand up again. Sorry.
Well, I just
Do
wanted
you
to
want to
say,
ask your question too? You had one more in the chat as well.
yeah, so it's a little bit of both. So I will say to you, I'm in Toronto today as part of the Ontario Nonprofit Housing Association. And I sit on a committee called Reaching Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So we had our full day meeting today, and we started with Indigenous. We talked about the Jews. We talked about, Black people, people of color. And I have to tell you, I have been on the verge of leaking all day. And I could cry right now, to be honest with you. And that's not normally one of my reactions, and I don't know if it's because it's kind of opened up all of these things that I didn't know, I didn't learn. But one of the things that we learned today, which I thought was so telling, was that trauma for the individual becomes their personality, or seen as their personality. Trauma for a family is seen as the family trait, and trauma for a community or a nation becomes its culture.
Yep.
And I mean, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about all of the things that have been done to people, Indigenous people, in all over years. And it hurts, like my heart actually hurts. And I don't think it's white guilt or shame. I think it is shame in the sense that we did these things. These things happened. And so it's shame from that perspective. However, so I will say it's been a very difficult day in terms of learning these things. And and I'm just like a bystander looking in. I can't even imagine. I honestly, but I think as we have these days and we have these meetings and we have these sessions and we have these conversations, it does keep it makes us realize the harm that was done.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so so it's got me thinking about all these other things too, right? So when you talked about, even the circle with the red, yellow, black and white, I mean, there was a Christian song, Jesus loves all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white. And when you think of all of these messages and these inferences, and like, we're not that far apart, and yet we've been hugely far apart in our actions and our deeds. So that's all I would say is my heart hurts, and yeah, and I'm just very, and you know, it is interesting because when you said about, so recently I said something to my daughter. I said, for some reason, I'm very sad. Like, I just had this overwhelming sense of sadness. And now when you talk tonight about we're on the verge of leaking, and that's the spirit, I'm thinking, that's what's happening. I'm sure that's what, like, you put to words what I have been feeling. And so, yeah, so I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you shared with us tonight your story. But yeah, it's been the journey to learn is so great. And for that, I am immensely sorry that at this age, I'm learning now things that I probably should have known many years ago, but anyway.
That wasn't your fault though. That's the other thing. You got to remember that was not your fault. You know, like, and it's not my fault. I don't know what I know, or I didn't know, you know, especially growing up. I wasn't the greatest mom. I had to learn. We all had to learn sometime, you know, sometime or another. You know, I say better late than never, you know, don't worry. And I say, like, I go back to that trust in spirit. If you feel like you need to leak. Do not hold it in, because another one of our teachings is if you keep swallowing that down, that guilt, that shame for somebody else that somebody had did to my people or other people, another, you know, race, you're going to act, what we call that is vile. So because you don't release it by you speaking tonight, you let it go that little bit. You allow those tears to come, you let that go just a little bit. But if you keep swallowing it though, you're like, you're pushing that feeling down. And I don't know if you know yoga, but if you push it down so far that it goes to the root chakra, it's going to stay there because you're good at holding things in, right? That, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. You know, like, you keep doing that, it's going to turn into something, we call it vile. And that vile is going to turn into either diabetes or cancer, the two top killers across, you know, the world. And it will happen so quick, and that it'll just take, sometimes it takes us so quickly. We don't mean to do it, but we were taught very well how to do that, you know, as a society. Shut up, be quiet, you know, don't stir the waters, you know, don't ask no questions, because you might rattle the cage on those natives over there, you know, you don't want them going in the uproar. And I was like, what? You know, like the people that I've grown up with, I said, I wish my friends asked more questions. So that'll help me to learn more about me and my people, and like, and who I'm supposed to be, and how, you know, like, even who, like what Oneida is, you know, like what the heck is an Oneida? And I showed you a glimpse what we've done for the people. Like, we're a strong nation. We took a lot of nations under our protection. We even took unfortunately, like, I think the Oneidas took the US government side, and the Mohawks took the Canadian side way back then, you know, and I wish I could go back there and be like, smart up. The shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Or I wish I could have, you know. So take it easy on yourselves, especially, you know, like learning stuff like this. I know it's hard. That's why I say take those nice deep breaths in, and remember, that's not mine. That shame is not mine. Breathe it out. That guilt's not mine. Breathe in wherever you feel that guilt. Wrap it around it. Breathe it out. And anything else that you might be feeling. So if it's like still that sadness, wrap it around that sadness. Breathe in. And let it go. That doesn't belong to me. Because you're carrying that ancestral memory, that trauma, DNA of that guilt, that shame, that sorrow, you know, whatever it is that is coming, that's starting to come. So your spirit is trying to say, take care of it. Get rid of it. Allow it to come, you know. And I'm just like, yeah, let those tears come. If you feel like you gotta go get sick, go get sick. Don't hold it down. If you gotta go potty, you get your butt on that potty. And, you know, because it's going to come out either which way. Allow it to happen, because a lot of times we try to stop it, right? We're so society made us so ashamed of what our body does, even farting, you know, like We're not supposed to fart in public. Well, it had to come out. Like, otherwise I'll have sore belly. We tell babies go ahead and fart. We're patting on their bellies and stuff, right? Like, what the heck? You know, even pooping. And then we don't talk about pooping. Are your poops regular? That's the other thing. Are you pooping after every meal? No. Are they like liquidy? Are they like little pebbles, like poop rabbit? You know, like all these different things. You know, are they one slice or what? You know, like, but that's important.
She's our health coach, so she's
Yeah,
good.
it's important, right? It's important. And if you're not going, you're bunged up. It's gonna hurt when you go potty next, you know. So and then what do I use to help with that? You know, what laxative do I need? I'm just like, I know exactly what medicine I need, you know, like
And if you can't talk about it, that's part of the issue, right? Then, because there's shame and as you said, all those things around that normal bodily function,
Yeah.
which helps to keep us healthy and cleansed from inside, right?
And sometimes it's other things too, you know, like the trauma that is little kids, especially from the residential schools and 60 scoop, the sexual trauma that they had to go through, the beatings that they had to go through. Sometimes they were found in, you know, closets and their feces are all over because they had nowhere else to go. So, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my people still deal with that, you know, like, and today I being a CS, when I was a CS worker, I've seen that. Our children still have to live that way, you know, like, and that's sad, but it's not just my children that I seen. I say like the Lost Loon, you know, like the white children I seen, the black children I seen, the Orientals I seen that happening, you know, like it's sad that our people are doing that to our babies. Those are our babies, our future coming up. They're human beings, you know, and that's our role and responsibilities as aunties, as grandmas, as moms, you know, friends, is that we're supposed to be taking care of those little ones, even if they're not ours. We watch out for every single one wherever we go. Walmart, I remember helping a little kid almost get run over by a cart, and it wasn't even my kid. You know, like that's my responsibility. I say, as an auntie, I take that serious, that we're supposed to watch out for everybody, you know, because I know someone's watching out for me, you know, some Guaidizo, and then I got my Auntie Marlene up there, my grandma's, you know, I know they're watching over me. So that's what I can do for those little ones, because at least I know I can know that they're safe. Everybody's safe. And I wish that for everybody. So I take my teachings, you know, kind of serious. Yeah, I guess you can say serious, you know, like, and I try to love when I can. I do get upset sometimes, but I try to take ownership over that and I just correct it. And I have to learn from that. And why did that piss me off? Why did I get sad? Why did I get, you know, triggered? That's the other thing. And then I have to go to that person after and thank them. Thank you for, you know, pissing me off. More my brothers. Thank you for pissing me off, because you showed me I still got stuff to take care of. And I'm going to go take care of that. And they're just kind of like, what? You know, they're just like, what the hell are you talking about? And then they figure it out after. Oh, when I said this, she got mad. And, you know, like, so it's a big learning for everybody. Everyone's constantly learning, you know, especially their own healing, you know, like, I have to do it with my friends too. So I'll quit talking. We'll go to the next question because I'm like, oh, I could go on and on and on.
Of the time. So are there any other questions for Amanda that was there anything else in the chat? I know I have like a page of questions, but I'm not going to keep you. I can ask you later. One thing I know I would like to mention is that Amanda has very generously offered I think 10% off of a healing with her. So if you are interested in delving in a little bit more into the work that she does, please keep your eyes open. I will put the email out tomorrow, you know, thanking you for coming and with the contacts for Amanda. What's the best way, Amanda? Like via email or?
Email or Facebook.
Okay,
Either.
yeah, to get in touch.
And I can do it through Zoom too.
Okay, yeah. So if you're not local, then she can do the ceremonies through and healings through Zoom. Is there anything else as far as what you offer, Amanda, that you would like to let us know? What types of things, like the sweat lodge, for example, is that something that, you know, someone like us can just come to, or is that only for your community, or hoping?
If I had my own lodge, okay, like I said, I have to watch my words. Every sweat lodge conductor was given different teachings and who can come in and who can't. So not saying that I won't, I have done it. I've had every color in there. And I swear probably an alien too. Like, but when I have my own lodge, you know, like I said, I've done sweat lodges, like, and can I say it? Has it been 7 years? We've done sweat lodges for very high profile people. There we go. That are non-Indigenous. So they can be done as long as you're invited. But what we usually do is we do teachings before, so that you understand. It'll be like an introductory sweat beforehand, but more than likely you'll be invited from the start to the finish. You don't just come when the door, we're ready to go in. You're going to go right from prep time right to clean up. Then you can go home. So I can say yes, but I can't speak for other sweat lodge conductors because some of them are a flat no. Nope, just our people. That's it. I'm only helping them. But I'm open to everyone because I have family that are half, that are a quarter. So I don't discriminate because I love my family. I love everyone in my family, and my close friends. I got close friends that are non-Indigenous, and I've invited them in, you know, like they've asked for that help. And if I still had the Cedar Lodge, I'd be like, come on down. But those things cost money. So I'm working on it. That's one of those things I'm trying to manifest. This beautiful Cedar Lodge that, you know, that my family and friends can come to, that I can help offer that help and support that way, you know, like, and it's not a traditional sweat. So the Cedar Lodge is actually built like a little lot, like a little hut, like a sweat hut. And there's like benches in there because I got bad knees. I can't crawl on the ground. So I love the Cedar Lodge at Kiki, but that one's it needs repairs and I can't use that one. So I'm trying to save up money so I can build my own and offer services right here, you know, in my backyard. I hope, but I got to save money. That's the other thing. So I'm working to save money to do that. Does that answer your question? So
Wow.
I guess like the only other thing really that I do, like besides that 10% off, so that session was going to actually be like a card reading. And also like if healing work needed to be happen, I the question would be then asked, you know, do you want help with that? And then we would go into a series of, it's a little bit of inner child work, it's a little bit of quantum work, a little bit of fit, focus, intention technique, and a little bit of something that I created. So it's like I can bounce in between, so you won't even know what the heck I'm taking you through, because I'm, like I said, I follow through spirit what needs to happen. And it's better if we're in person, because then I can touch you. So it's almost like Reiki work that I do, but it's not Reiki. It's Reiki, but it's not Reiki. It's like what was taught to me from Bruce's grandma, you know. So I'm getting this from a really old teaching that was handed down through the Oneidas, to do the energy work with our hands, to pull that whatever it is that you're carrying off, you know, like, and if I can't do it, then I'll ask you to do it. And usually when I do Zoom, you'll be doing it on your end, like, because I can't reach through the camera, and I wish I could. But I can do the readings, you know, over Zoom. And I use the spirit, the light seekers tarot. I love them. They're absolutely beautiful cards. Half the time I don't even use the book. It's all whatever comes through spirit, you know. Sometimes I'm way off from the book. Somebody grabbed a book on me one time and like, that's not what the book says. I said, well, that's not what spirit wanted me to say. So that's the other thing I offer. I do kind of sort of sell doTERRA, but not really. Like, I've been so busy helping the people that nah. Or the other thing I do, you know, like, I'm open to coming to communities and offering more talks like this out in the communities. Like I said, I was in Ridgetown, and there was another little community, I can't even remember, Blenheim, I think it was called. I went there and did something similar like this today. What I did there, I've done it at CAS. That was fun. Children's Aid Society.
I'm not good with acronyms.
Sorry.
I always say, there's so many I cannot keep up.
I was the same way.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was the same way, and I'm just like, but now I do, because we had to make sure we did all the tiki boxes, and those tiki boxes had acronyms next to them. So I had to learn all that. So it's like, oh, I hate tiki boxes. So whenever I
he
hear
would say
CS,
PIA.
I'm like,
Awesome. Well, that's a wonderful, sort of visual of all the beautiful things that you do, Amanda. And I know on the other side of things, you're, working with your community and helping in so many ways. And you're a busy lady. I know you're renovating your house as well. So
yes, I'm renovating. I just painted. I actually just put up my fireplace. I was like, yes. Took me all afternoon, and then my sound bar went in here. Me, I put the plug in the power plug in the wrong hole, and I actually went to London, missed Best Buy, so brought it back, and then I tried plugging it again, and I looked, and I was like, oh my god, that's how busy I've been. My brain is like just like fried, like from the work that I do. But it taught me I got to slow down. So I slowed down today. I had a nice massage, that self-care for myself. Drank so much water. I've been going potty so much, like it's just crazy. But that's good because I'm cleaning out the toxins, right? And yeah, I had to kick my cat out, and I finally got to have a bath. We've got our bathroom renovated, so I finally got to have a shower in my own bathroom after 3 weeks. And our bathroom is just a little wee, like, God, like just a little hole in the wall, just enough for the bathtub, the toilet, and the sink. That's how big our our bathroom is. So I'm just like, yes, I finally get to be home. Like, yeah.
Well, I thank you for taking the time for us tonight, because I know you're busy and we talked about this. So, and it wasn't yesterday, it wasn't tomorrow. We were joking about that as well. But we really, really appreciate you coming. And I hope this has been something that everybody's enjoyed. I mean, there's the history, the culture, the spiritual learnings. And I personally want to see you come back again and maybe talk about something else down the road. Like if you have more time for us, and maybe we can focus on a specific area. But this has been absolutely wonderful. So on behalf of Power and Aging, we really thank you for being here with us. And I know everybody is, I feel the energy has enjoyed the evening, and I'm going to pass on your details in our follow-up email tomorrow. For those of you who are not on our, I think everybody here is on our mailing list. I'm not sure about you, Rebecca. I'm going to just paste a little link in the chat there. You can sign up for our newsletter, and then you'll be notified not only, of what I mentioned for Amanda, but for our future and upcoming events. Just a little plug for our next event on February 21st. We have a sleep coach to help us talk about how to get sleep. She focuses not only on young mothers who can't sleep with babies, but also women going through sort of this time of our lives. Because I know, and when insomnia hits me, it hits me hard. So that's going to be a really interesting topic as well. So I cannot thank Amanda enough for kicking off our 2023. This is the absolute best way I could think that it could start. And thanks everybody for joining us. If you are able to join us for our coaching on Saturday at 11:11 our time, we would love to see you there. Please get in contact with us. It is only $11.11 monthly to join our coaching program. So we try to make it very affordable, and we want you to be a part of our community. And our final note, stay tuned for our online program that we are putting up for April. So we will have more coming to you very soon. So on behalf of everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
And have fun in Toronto, Lori. I'm sure we'll see you Saturday. Thanks for coming,
Thanks,
everybody.
Amanda.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
everybody.
everything.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.